So it's because of those reasons I think the FICO score is absolute garbage and why we are not going to be using it for buying a house. So I have been cooped up indoors for the last week, and it is just time for me to get out for just a quick walk and everything. So for those of you that need to get out, use this as an opportunity to walk outdoors with me. It's pretty quiet out, exception of this, a little bit of traffic here and there, but it's peaceful in a very, I guess, sombering way. So one of the things that I've noticed is a significant misattribution of how, and misunderstanding really, of how money works, in particular how finance in general works. And I think this whole situation when it comes to what we've been going through right now has kind of revealed that. So right now the unemployment rate is, well, I don't know if it's the unemployment rate, but the number of unemployment claims is upwards of 3.3 million, which is the highest it's ever been. 69% of folks right now have less than $1,000 in savings, and 45 to 53% of people have absolutely no savings whatsoever. Now, roughly 50% of folks are living paycheck to paycheck, although another source that I found was that number was up to 78%, but that was back in 2017. So I'm not exactly sure what happened between 2017 and 2019 with those 28% of people. I don't know if they all of a sudden got all their stuff together, but which I don't think they did. But it's basically, I'd say between 50 to 60% of folks are living paycheck to paycheck. 2019 household debt was up by $601 billion. And this included things by nearly $60 billion up from the previous year in credit cards, $50 billion up in student loans, and another $60 billion in cars and auto loans. So unemployment is through the roof, literally in the millions. Nearly 70% of people have less than $1,000 in their savings, and nearly 50% have no savings. Roughly 50, probably a little bit more than that percentage of people are living paycheck to paycheck. And the debt is as highest as it's probably ever been in this entire decade. But get this, the average American credit score is as highest as it's ever been. So there's really two games that you can play, the wealth game or the credit game. And the thing is whatever you do on one side does not affect the other. See, because building wealth and building your credit score or building your FICO score are completely independent of each other. There's a dude coming up along with a motorized wheel escape. So pretty much anything that you do to build wealth, invest, put money into assets, increase your cash flow, work on your budget, none of that has anything to do with your FICO score. And likewise, anything that you do with your FICO score, which would be pulling out money, borrowing money, taking out, loans, paying it back, opening up multiple lines of credit, have nothing to do with building wealth. Because the reality is, just think of how good a credit score is right now and how useful it is right now. People are unemployed, they don't have savings, they probably have a huge amount of debt, as I've shown. I mean, debt's gone up, as high as it's ever gone. And people are really struggling financially. But what is a credit score going to do for you right now? Right now, people need income, they need jobs, they need savings, they need to be out of debt. They need emergency funds, not a credit score. Even it wouldn't matter if you had an 800 credit score or a 500 credit score or is no credit score. It's not going to help you right now. So this is our plan moving forward, based off of everything that I've kind of told you. Once this whole CV thing lifts up and we're able to people are able to go out, and we're able to go out a little bit and interact with people again, we're going to be trying to get a mortgage. But here's the thing: neither I nor my wife have credit scores. I haven't had a credit score since 2013, and my wife's never had one because she never had one with her Social Security. And I've seen other videos, a couple of videos, and I've heard stories of people getting mortgages without a FICO score, but I wanted to document everything when it comes to this kind of stuff so that this way we can see everything and you can see the whole process that we went through from start to finish. Now you might be wondering, why would you even bother trying to get a mortgage without a FICO score when it's quote unquote so easy to do it? All you got to do is take out a credit card and just pay off a few bills with that, and boom, you're going to get an instant credit score. And I disagree with that entire assumption and analysis. See, if you actually look up what's comprised of the FICO score, only about 10% of it is new lines of credit. Everything else, payment history, different types of credit that you might have, the length of your credit history, that's all based off of already having established credit. So this idea that all you got to do is take out a simple credit card and use it for 12 months and pay off a few bills, and boom, a 700 something whatever plus FICO score is going to materialize out of the void, not realistic. It's a little warm out, but it's good to get some fresh air. But like I was saying though, it kind of boils down to, you know, why bother doing it this way? And most of it really has to do with the fact that I have decided to live my financial life in a way that I'm not being held up by any kind of financial entity or institution or anything like that, such as the credit score. So far, every time anyone has ever said, like to me, or if I've engaged in discussions with people over the internet, especially when it comes to a credit score, they'll say, oh, you need a credit score, you won't be able to get an apartment, you won't be able to get a job, your insurance rates are going to go up, you're not going to be able to travel, you're not going to be able to get any kind of clearances, you're not going to be able to fill in the blank. And so far, every single thing that people have said that I would not be able to do, I have proven them wrong. I have done every single thing that they have said I supposedly could not do. I have moved twice and gotten an apartment twice since my FICO score is no longer available, or at that point it was probably dead. If it wasn't in the like low 500s, it was probably dead at that point by the time I moved for the first time. I have gotten a job, I've had clearances in the past, I have been able to pretty much do anything. I've started a business, and everything that I've done so far has all been without the aid of a FICO score. So this is why I bring up the notion that a FICO score is meaningless when it comes to building wealth and having any kind of financial success. Quite frankly, everything that I've been able to do and that my wife and I have been able to do, such as, we've been able to move, we've been able to get jobs, we have a business, we have an emergency fund, we have significant amount of investments and assets that's due to proper budgeting, granted, and we're debt free. All of that was without any kind of a FICO score, any kind of credit score whatsoever. And we intend to keep things that way, including when we go and buy a house for the first time. What I've noticed is there might be some people that are very successful and wealthy and say financially independent that also happen to have high FICO scores, but those two concepts they're correlated, but there's no causation between the two. In other words, they're, like I said, they're orthogonal, meaning one of them goes, say, back and forth, the other one goes up and down, or goes forward to backwards. They're all independent directions, and they all move independently of each other. And building wealth, likewise, doing a budget, having an emergency fund, investing in income-producing assets, properly managing your cash flow, and obviously, say, being debt-free. None of that has anything to do with your credit score. So it's because of those reasons I think the FICO score is absolute garbage, and why we are not going to be using it for buying a house. We do have a pretty significant down payment saved up. We're already debt-free. We have all of our bills and everything that we've been paying for the last several years all saved up. We have my income statements. We have the lease, and that shows that we've been paying on time. A landlord consistently. I've had my job for the last several years, fortunately, so that will also look really well on the application as well. So I feel right now that we have a lot of things lined up, ready to go, so that really it's just a matter of finding a lender that's going to go ahead and do this, and for us to really kind of get this whole process started. But thanks for joining me on my little walk today, and hopefully this was a little bit beneficial. I enjoyed it a little bit, get some fresh air and everything. I needed some. We just take it 1 week at a time, and hopefully everything will get a little bit better as time goes on and as we flatten the curve. I will talk with you guys later. Have a great weekend. Stay safe.